Hello folks and welcome to Paddock Pass, the Italian Grand Prix post-race edition 2016. Sebastian Vettel disappears off into the Tifosi. Those ladies there just gave him a couple of red roses. It wasn't the victory that the Tifosi wanted, can't say expected, but certainly not one that they wanted. Mercedes just too powerful, too fast, too dominant this season to allow even a sniff of victory for Ferrari, despite the fact that Lewis Hamilton got an horrific start to the Grand Prix from pole position, slid back through the field, fought back into second place. But it was Nico Rosberg who, of course, took advantage of that to take the win. Sebastian Vettel coming home third for Ferrari. We can't say it was a classic Grand Prix. It's the strange thing about Monza. For all of the passion of the fans, for all of the history of the track, and everything that we love about the place, it's over in the blink of an eye, and rarely does it produce an absolute thriller. But anyway, Nico Rosberg was happy. He's cut the championship gap down to Lewis Hamilton to just 2 points as we leave Europe and go into the flyaways that will see us to the conclusion of the 2016 season. Nico, congratulations. A great result. After previous years of coming so close, mechanical gremlins taking it away from you, how great does it feel to get on that top step of the podium, that amazing crowd underneath you?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's very, very special to win here at this track. It's legendary, you know, and I feel very close to the Italian culture in many ways, and then to stand up there today with all the tifosi going crazy out there, phenomenal.
And what does it mean, the fact that you guys were able to run just a one-stop strategy, not even have to use the super soft against a field that had to have that kind of advantage, that kind of a car underneath you?
Well, we just took the advantage in qualifying, you know, and our speed in qualifying allowed us to start with the harder tyre, and that gave us the possibility to do a one-stop, which again was just much better in the race. So the whole weekend, I mean, the car was just phenomenal.
2 points gap in the championship as we move on to the flyaways. How eager are you to carry on this race in this rich vein of form that you're in and take the championship fight to Lewis to the end?
Yeah, no, I'm very eager to get the next one because it's going well, and Singapore will be awesome, but it's the most difficult race for us. I mean, last year we really struggled there, so it'll be a challenge. Let's see if we can make it happen.
Lewis, a frustrating day, I'm sure, which all began at the start. What's it like sitting on pole position? As you admitted to the team, it was your mistake, and you see all those cars flying past you going down to turn one.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't my mistake, but I knew that my guys would be sitting there panicking, nervous, that I would be angry for the rest of the race, and when I got back, so I just kind of wanted to put them at ease. I don't know what would happen. I think it just got wheel spin, and I'm going to go and have a look, find out what the actual problem was. But of course, that was what decided the race, and I did my best to come back.
That's interesting, because before the race, Nico had complained about a hesitation in his start procedure. With that in mind, is that something the team might have been able to have warned you about?
Again, I don't know what happened, so I had no hesitations with my start.
Then getting into the race itself, how do you compose yourself, get back on it, trying to recoup those lost positions and really going after it?
It's quite easy, to be honest. I mean, I just started last in the last race, so composure is not an issue for me this year. Getting off the line has been the biggest issue this year. I lost a lot of races from, what was that, maybe 3, 4 at least. Race wins have been lost from the start at least, so that's something I can't really afford for the next 7 races.
Absolutely not. Championship gap's down to just 2 points. It's going to go all the way to the end, isn't it?
We will see. I can't really tell you what's going to happen, but you know, if we got away the way we needed to get away today, we would have won the race. It's so we're going to try, and that's the real focus we've got to have for the rest of the season, because the rest of the speed, the pace is there in both qualifying and race. Yeah.
Sebastian, the Ferrari fans expect a win. It wasn't, but how good does it feel to stand on that podium, a sea of red underneath you, everyone chanting your name?
Well, certainly they gave us a roar of applause as if we won the race. So I think, it's been a mega day. The support we get here all weekend is, you can't describe. So it's nice to give something back. I think for both Kimi and myself, we had a good race. Obviously, after the start, I think we're both hoping for second and third to be both up there, but Mercedes was just too quick. I had, I think, a very good start. Couldn't really use the momentum. Otherwise, I think we could have passed Nico, but probably at the end wouldn't have made a big difference with the pace they had. They were just a little bit too quick. Nevertheless, I think, a great day, and great to be on that podium.
Mercedes had a horrible Singapore Grand Prix last year. Do you expect the same thing to happen to them this year? Can you fight them there for a victory?
Well, I think the respect is very high. They're doing a very good job. I think they learned their lesson last year, so it would be a surprise if they struggle as much as the previous year. Nevertheless, I think we have high hopes. It's a track that we've liked a lot last year. It's a track that I don't mind to drive on. Pretty much the opposite. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
So as you said, Tifosi expects, but didn't quite receive the victory that they wanted. They had to make do with Vettel in third. Of course, it was Vettel who started third, and Raikkonen who started fourth, and that's precisely where they finished. But the race wasn't quite that easy for them. At the start, it looked like they were focusing on Mercedes, trying to take the race for Mercedes. But when their rivals at Williams and Red Bull pitted earlier than Ferrari, it put them into this quandary of, do we have it in us to fight for the win, or do we have to admit defeat here and actually concentrate on protecting our position? And ultimately they had to protect their position. So Ferrari came in, made the stop that they had to do, and saved third, saved fourth. So here's Kimi on his race. Kimi, with the strategy today, was it ever about taking the fight to Mercedes, or was it about defending the position that you had at the start?
Well, obviously we tried to take it as much as we could, but this was our maximum or the fastest race that we could have done from start to finish. So, no, anything else would not have been as fast. So, there's not much else to say, really.
Last engine upgrades already happened. How tough the rest of the season going to be?
Well, I think we've been going in the right direction in the last few weekends. So obviously, we keep pushing and improving, and I think we have to improve in all the areas. So I think so far it's getting more positive again. So we have to just keep it up.
Now, after courting controversy in Spa, of course, the focus was on Max Verstappen this weekend. Would he keep his nose clean? Or would he get himself into any more scrapes? In the end, we didn't really have to worry about Max Verstappen keeping people behind him, because he was one of the drivers who was swamped at the start, just like Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen also terrible off the line when the lights went out, dropping right back through the field. And from that point, we had to see the other side of Max Verstappen's racecraft, not the defending, but the attacking, ultimately fighting his way back through to finish 7th, where he'd started. Daniel Ricciardo, his teammate, had started 6th but finished 5th after a last minute and beautiful pass on Valtteri Bottas at the end of the race. So a good day all round for Red Bull Racing, with Ricciardo maximising the potential a little bit with one position, and Verstappen really having to fight back from a bad start. Here's the Red Bull boys. Max, you finished where you started, but it was a much more eventful race than that. Talk us through your start, which wasn't great.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I dropped the clutch, and straight away I got into anti-stall. So we have to look into what happened there. But from there on, I was a little bit in a difficult situation after lap 1. But from there on, I think we had good pace, managed to overtake some people. So that's always positive. And I think at the end the pace was good. So I can be happy about that.
The strategy you guys wanted to make, obviously, was to start the race on the soft tyre. With that being your intention going into qualifying yesterday, was it always going to be a race that didn't live up to expectations?
Difficult to say. It's, of course, Mercedes were the only ones who did that. So at the end, we still had a chance compared to the other ones. But after such a start, you can do whatever strategy you want. It's just very difficult.
It is indeed. Next up, Singapore should suit Red Bull. Can you guys challenge for a victory in Singapore?
I hope so. This was not too bad for us. Even, it's very power dependent. So I'm definitely looking forward to Singapore.
Oh, yeah, no wasp today. Look at the crowd. It's amazing.
Dan, you're looking at the crowd underneath the podium. I know you would have loved to have been up there. Was this the best result you could have hoped for today, though?
Yeah, I think absolutely realistically, yes. We could have hoped that there was some incidents at the front, but we knew Mercedes definitely on another level, and Ferrari just had a bit more on us all weekend. So at least they were quicker from Friday, so we didn't get our hopes up. We knew coming into the weekend that they were going to be already stronger. So 5th was good. I put on a really nice move on Valtteri, and that was my objective. I told you yesterday before the wasp ambushed me that I'd beat Valtteri, and I did, so I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, you had to wait till right at the end, though. Were you surprised by the pace of the Williams today?
Yeah, he was quick, on the same tyre. I think they had a little bit more than us on raw pace. I think our tyre deg was a bit better. We were able to hold on a few more laps, but so in the end we decided to stay out longer every stint, so then at the end we could put on the super soft. And that was the only way we thought we could really have a fight with him, was changing the tyres, and in the end that's what we did, and thanks to the team for putting me on that strategy, and it gave me a chance to pull off a nice move into turn one.
For months, you've been building up Singapore as your best chance of a win. You've kind of been building up pressure on yourself for when you get there.
For Monaco as well, to be honest. So,
and you nearly won that one.
I don't mind a bit of pressure, but I don't want to go in there obviously walking around saying I'm going to win the race. But sure, we got to aim for a podium. It was a bit of a dud race for Mercedes last year, but I'm sure that they'll be back, on form in Singapore. So I think they'll still be the favourites heading into the weekend. But I like it. I like the track. I like the challenge. It's hot, humid, physical. So looking forward to getting there and having some fun.
Now, in the 2016 Formula One World Championship, one of the most interesting inter-team battles is behind Force India and Williams. Force India, of course, took the 4th place in the Constructors' Championship away from Williams in Spa. I think it was in Spa. And Williams took it back again today. Valtteri Bottas. Was he happy with his race today? Ultimately, no, he wasn't. As he told us after the race, he thought there was a chance of a podium today. But be that as it may, points for him and Felipe Massa have taken Williams back ahead Force India by that very small margin in the Constructors' Championship. A great race today. Well done. Just pipped at the end by Daniel. Is that annoying, or are you proud of the race that you had and the points that you brought home?
Well, to be honest, I was really hoping for more from today. For me personally, the podium was the target today, but it's just we didn't have the pace today. We thought we could really challenge Ferrari, be quicker than Red Bull, but that wasn't the case today.
Why was it not the case today?
I don't know. I mean, it just looked in the practice that our race pace was looking very good, but the others, they improved a bit more from practice to the race, and then when we just didn't have the pure pace, then we had to push a little bit harder at the tyre than we wanted, and then we always struggled at the end of the stints, which forced us to stop a bit early, and then in the end of the race was really difficult.
This is a track that suited you guys over the years. How tough are those remaining races going to be, given that this was one of those races where you'd been hoping to do so well?
Yeah, we definitely hoped for more points from this weekend, but it's good. I mean, we did get more points than Force India, which is the main thing for us, and still so many races to go, so we can do good results.
Valtteri Bottas, who I expect to be confirmed for a 2017 drive at Williams in the coming days. Claire Williams, don't forget, told us in Spa that they wanted some consistency in their driver lineup between 2016 to 2017. And with Felipe Massa this weekend announcing his retirement, it ain't going to be him. So that means it has to be Bottas. So we will expect that soon. Who will Bottas's teammate be? A lot of people were expecting it to be Jenson Button. Not so. Jenson, of course, down at McLaren, has announced that he's staying with the team, albeit not in a race role. He will become a sort of a reserve ambassador type person as Stoffel Van Dorn steps into this seat. We hope that Button's career doesn't just fizzle out like with Mika Hakkinen. I'm going on a sabbatical, and then he never comes back. That would be a real shame for Jenson, a world champion who deserves a proper send-off, not to just fizzle into obscurity. That would be a real shame. So who takes that second seat? Now, some people think Felipe Nasr, one-time reserve driver at Williams. Some people, I should say, think maybe Pascal Wehrlein with a potential money-off deal for some Mercedes engines. Other people say Lance Stroll, young Canadian, bucket loads of cash from daddy. Is he talented? Yes. Is he rough around the edges? Yes. And if we think that Max Verstappen caused some controversy by being a bit of a cocky upstart, I think Lance could rewrite the books on that one. But he does have potential. Is he being rushed in? I think if he moves in 2017, there could be arguments that he is being rushed in. Time will tell. There's no guarantee what's going to happen. But another man in the headlines, of course, for where he will be next season is Sergio Perez. I heard an interesting rumour last night about Sergio Perez, the reason it's taking so long for him to decide where he's going next year. It all revolves around sponsorship, where his sponsors want to go, ultimately how much money Sergio gets paid as well. We believe we're that close to Sergio confirming that he's going to be at Force India again next year. But here's an interesting thing. Sources close to Perez have indicated that there is a deal in place for him to go to Ferrari, where he was a reserve driver, or part of the junior driver program, I should say, a few years ago, before he was taken out of that program by McLaren. Could we see Checo back in the Ferrari folds in 2018? who knows? Here he is. Checo, quite the race for you today. Did you enjoy it?
Not really. It was a very lonely race. Most of the time I was able to do my race, focusing on myself, looking after the tires in the beginning of the stint, so on. We tried in the end to keep Verstappen behind, so we were really optimistic, and we stopped far too early for the last stop, and it meant that we had to do a very long stint on that set of tires.
We knew today was going to be a challenge for you. Did the car react as you expected it to?
Yes, we were as expected, basically, in terms of pace, in terms of how the car performed today. Really, I don't think we could have done any better today. So I'm happy that at least we managed to come away with everything that was available on the table.
I'm going to ask you this because we're in Ferrari country. There's a rumour cropped up yesterday about your future. Obviously, you can't tell us whether you'll be at Force India or not next year, but I've heard that 2018 you might be going to Ferrari. Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, you're really starting with those rumours. I don't even know where I will be driving for 2017. So 2018 is a long way ahead.
It's not a no.
Well, I mean, take it as you want, but basically it's a long way ahead. And first I want to know where I'm driving for next year, and then 2018 you will tell me then.
Checo then, I think quite wisely, wanting to figure out 2017 before we think about 2018. Got to ask the question though. And I think Checo would be quite a neat fit down at Ferrari. He's dependable, always getting podiums at the moment. If it's not a Mercedes getting a podium, and if Ferrari are out of it, it's always Checo. He's always there. You can see why Ferrari might be interested in him. Anyway, let's keep with the Ferrari link. Ferrari engines, let's go to Haas. Esteban Gutierrez made it into Q3, started in the points, first time ever for a Haas driver, looking at a good result. Could he bring back a decent points haul? Romain Grosjean starting outside of the points with a gearbox penalty. Believed points were on the board today with the pace that the car had shown with its Monza spec wings. Esteban had a horrible start. Romain was put on a bonkers strategy, and what could have been a great race for them ended up giving them absolutely nothing. I think this will be a day that Haas looks back on its first year in Formula One with abject frustration, because what could and should have been a brilliant result for the team today ultimately gave them nothing. Here's Grosjean and here's Gutierrez. Romain, points at some point today, at one point in the race at least, looked more like a definite than just a possibility. How frustrating is it to finish outside the points today?
Well, I think we're just lacking a little bit of speed in the race, to be fair, to be in the points. We tried a very aggressive one-stop strategy, a bit of grinding on the soft on the first stint through the last few laps. Cost us a few seconds, but I don't think I could have got the 12 seconds to get to P10, so that was about the maximum today, and just need to learn what we can do better for next race.
The amount of time you lost at the end of that first stint trying to make those softs last because you were going to put on the super softs when you had a fresh set of mediums. In hindsight, could you have done things differently?
I don't know. We didn't run much the medium, and the engineer were not comfortable to put them on. So we'll look back now, because we had the debates this morning. I wanted to start on medium, but the numbers were not great. So if we can fine-tune our strategy system, it's going to be great for the future. We're still, learning process.
Singapore next. How much are you looking forward to that?
Very much. It's one of the great races of the season, and we should have plenty of new parts on the car. So if they work as well as what we had this weekend, it's going to be a very good weekend.
Talk me through the start.
Yeah, it was a very disappointing start. Just had a lot of wheel spin. No reaction on the car, so yeah, it's not a great way to start the race. After that, I had to focus to recover as quick as I could, but also with the tires that I started the race with were not ideal to fight with people with new tires behind. So yeah, it took me a bit of time. I came back, we had good rhythm, and we just need to focus on solving this small detail which makes a huge difference.
After the high of yesterday and getting into Q3, the expectation of starting in the points and having that great chance to score points today, when you make a start like that, how much does your heart sink in your chest? What does it feel like when you're in the car?
It's horrible. It's really, really, really horrible, because You start with all the motivation, everything is there, you have everything, you have the pace, you have the car. And then with a bad start like that, you lose everything, you see everybody coming by, trying to avoid all the contacts, a lot of crashes in front, a lot of parts flying apart. And yeah, it requires a lot of faith to come back and keep fighting.
How do you find that faith? Where do you draw that strength from in order to just carry on and not bring it into the pits at the end of the first lap and say, that's it, day's done?
Well, it's important to be persistent. It's important to, no matter how bad things get, you need to keep fighting. It's the same in life. In a race, it's the same. So it's a great example of how we should just work on those details, which will make a big difference and will benefit a lot to us.
And so with the roundabout of drivers in place, Haas looks set to re-sign Romain Grosjean, and we believe that Esteban Gutierrez has a very, very good chance of staying there as well. Team boss Gunther Steiner saying on Friday that they quite like that concept of being a proving ground for Ferrari's youth. Does that mean young Charles Leclerc has a chance at the team? Maybe some point down the line in the future. There's a very, very talented boy. But the driver market is starting to settle with, obviously, with news that Felipe is off next year. It does open a really big, important seat. With news that Stoffel Van Dorn is in at McLaren, I think really positive, really exciting times. The last time that McLaren signed a GP2 champion to race one of their cars was 10 years ago. They told Lewis here in Monza, you will race Formula 1 next year. Little did they know at the time, or maybe they did, Lewis would be partnered with the two-time Formula 1 champion called Fernando Alonso. Stoffel Van Dorn next year will be partnered with two-time Formula 1 world champion Fernando Alonso. In the last decade, Lewis Hamilton has won 3 world championships and stands on the verge of a 4th. I'm a big believer in Stoffel Van Dorn. You can't say what's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're standing here in 2026. God, I'll be 45. Saying that Stoffel Van Dorn is a 3-time Formula 1 world champion, gunning for his 4th. Oh, I've just made myself feel really old. Right, that's your lot from Monza. We're off to Singapore in a fortnight. That's it for Europe. We're done. It's the flyaways next. High pressure. Nowhere more high pressure, high temperature, high pressure than Singapore. Mercedes had a mare in Singapore last year, couldn't get the tyres turned on, and it flitted round into the hands of Red Bull Racing. Danny Rick's been saying all year, Singapore, that's my race, that's where I'm going to win. Could we see a total flip around in the competitive order? Let's hope so, eh? Because as we said at the start, this one wasn't a thriller. That's your lot though from Paddock Pass. It's been a lot of fun. Can't believe it. Sort of 2/3 of the way through the season already. Amazing. Right, we'll see you in Singapore. We've got to go and catch a flight. See you later.